So, hello everybody. I'm excited again. How are you feeling, Sylvia?
I'm excited and really loving the topic that we're going to discuss today.
Yeah, and I came up with the topic when I saw your post on the feelings and I saw the emotion wheel you had posted. And this was like, I like the topic. I like the topic so much. What would you like to share about it?
I would say that the emotional wheel is something that is a really great intro for the world. And even though the emotional wheel isn't something that I think is the best way to handle emotions, what I think the most important method and the reason why it was designed was to help us open a dialogue with our children to communicate what our children are feeling. Now more than ever, I believe that we need to really open up this dialogue and help our children understand. First of all, what I do every single session is give them understanding that it's valid. Like if you're angry, it's okay to be angry. It's okay not to be okay. And I believe that that is the greatest tool, at least when I started using the emotion wheel, and it's the connection. You can play so many fun games with children, myself included, that childlike part of adults that needs to understand, especially young men, you know, it's okay to cry, like cry, honey. I really was good. I mean, I did a lot of things that I consider awesome as a mom and a lot of things on the total opposite. That is one thing that I was really, because my dad, um, he's in his 80s. I might have seen my dad cry two or
Mm.
three times. And
Probably
he's
because I told him. Probably because I told him that men do not cry.
right. And guess where that affects him? And this is the beautiful part of talking about it,
Mm-hmm.
was his heart.
Mm.
And then
Mm.
he always had eye problems. So I said to him, the very first time I started doing this work was, Dad, you know, I never seen you cry as a kid. And I've seen him go through things that most people wouldn't want to go through. And the eyes is to see the future. And the heart is to feel the pain.
Yeah.
Just think of how that would change the destiny of children in the world today, to recognize and understand with everything in them that it's okay to feel. And Theodora, prior to us going live, you mentioned that you use it and you see it being used in classrooms.
Yeah, yeah. We've also embedded it in one of our seminars, and we've included the how to use the wheel in one of those seminars with my colleague Papadeli Sofia, and it's a lovely tool to use in our classes. But I think teachers should be trained on how to use it because I see lots of teachers helping the students with their emotions, but this is identifying the emotions is only step one of the process. So I would like to train teachers the how the process goes after identifying the emotions, because when the students identify the emotions, we help them surface the emotions, but if we don't know how to move on with the process, then they just go home with those emotions on the surface, and they don't know how to handle the situation and how to manage their emotions. And this is so this post you made just helped me remember that I have to work on that and maybe help teachers and give them the strategy, give them the process, the steps of how we can manage our emotions.
I love that, Theodora. And I'm really grateful that you being in Greece, first of all, she teaches English. And prior to our session, she's like, I don't like going live because I have to think of the words. And I said, no, we're going live. And I'll explain to you this comment because I work at the soul level. So you think of what you're going to do in the classroom with kids, and that's their feelings today, here and now. What I work with is the generation of these feelings. Like my grandma had that pain.
Mm.
My great-grandmother had that. Understanding that you're not alone in this journey, and to recognize it. And then if you're in the classroom supporting these children to deal with and heal this part of them, and they're easy things to teach, easy things for us to give these kids on how to not only heal their emotions here now, to go back and understand. I mean, simple, easy techniques that I believe both of us get to see every day with clients.
Mm-hmm.
And one that I didn't say before we came live was even the simple part of Theodora to recognize my first language is Greece. And if I have to pause and think of speaking English words, I'm English. I would love to be able to pause and think of a Greece word, you know? So recognizing how wonderful it is that you have the ability to speak more than one language.
Okay.
Right?
That's a nice perspective.
It's the truth. That's what kids need. They need to understand what they're feeling is valid.
Exactly.
Just like yourself hesitating to go live before we discuss what we were going to do. So you could find the words instead of, hey, look at me. Look how amazing I am. I can speak 2 languages. Were you ever taught to do that, Theodora?
To be amazing?
To know you are amazing. No, really. You're laughing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That
It's the
takes
same.
conscious effort. It takes conscious effort.
I think it takes practice, just like giving a man the opportunity to cry.
Yeah.
When I talked to my dad and I told him, like, Dad, you don't have to be the strong one. You don't have to hold up the world. It was like, his shoulders. I mean, and he's had back pain, and they just need to communicate it. I think the wheel was designed, at least when I studied it, and it's been over 30 years. So, I think it came out in 2016. Like, I think there was so many other people that were opening this communication, and this brilliant man designed the wheel, and he went into like the layers. Like that's why there's colors on that wheel, because there's layers of what we're feeling. So doing what you're going to do in the classroom, have you ever done that, Theodora, with your
identifying the feelings and then moving on with the process until the feelings just fade away.
So can you give an example of one of the activities you would do? And then I can give an example of one of the activities I do as a takeaway for our people watching.
Yeah, so first we need to identify the feelings. The feelings.
I'm a kid in your classroom and I'm filled with guilt.
Yeah.
Because I lied to my mom and dad last night. What would you do?
So they need to elaborate on that, and then they take the wheel and see that there is some kind of depth in those feelings. And then we have to reverse the negative feelings into positive feelings. But there is a process that we follow, and it takes about an hour in class. It's not something that's simply done just like that. We work
Beautiful.
with it. Yeah.
Beautiful. And the end result for these students?
They feel relieved. They always comment that they feel lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a 9-year-old saying, I feel 10 kilos lighter. And she was 9. And she was 9. That was amazing. I wish I could just have those kids reviewing and commenting on what we're doing in class. I mean, live to other people.
Well, we can do that through your vocabulary and be able to share that. I love when I work with a client or a group of clients and give them the statements that I believe are really important to support that healing generational, right? It's very easy. Those 4 simple statements, when you use them, it's the first step is what you do. First, they have to, recognize that.
Yeah, recognize.
and then feel that,
Mm-hmm.
and then the healing begins. I know one of our sayings in what we do is you've got to feel so you heal that part of you.
So you can release it. Yes.
Right. And I think that
there is this lovely book that we coaches use, Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And it's, I think everybody should have this book in their library, at home, in their bookcase.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
One of the things that I do in my sessions is help the kids daisy chain.
Mm-hmm.
And the emotional wheel is what helped me to teach that, because like a little girl that's really angry or a little boy that's really angry, they got this rage. So I asked them, like, where are you feeling that?
Mm-hmm.
That connection of feeling it in the body. And then the other part that I love is giving them like that aha moment.
Yeah.
Really makes everything kind of feel like you're putting on your favorite sweater. Is, what that anger is all about. And 99% of the time they feel sad. And then the underlying going deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like Theodora said, it's a process that both of us do, whether it's in a classroom or whether it's with a group of kids. And it's very easy to replicate.
Individually
Right.
with a client.
Right. And I love individually, because when you do it individually, it's so easy for like when I work with a client, they can replicate it and do it in other areas of their life, because there's a lot of emotions. I think there's 8 in the wheel. Mm-hmm. I believe there's more than 8, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right. So, it's
but the main emotions are in the center of the wheel. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the part of the wheel that I believe I evolved, because when I first learned it, I used to follow it and kind of daisy chain the emotions backwards and forwards. Mm-hmm. Now it's, I believe, like one of the simple techniques I can give people is just to put your hands on your heart. Mm-hmm. I mean, it changes everything. So do I have to play with that wheel and the emotions? No. I take them right to that feeling place.
Yeah, because you do a lot of work with them and you don't need the wheel.
And I will tell you this, because I had a young girl, and she and I were talking about wheels, and the next coaching session when she came back, she brought this white paper plate and she put her feelings. Brilliant. I mean, these kids are my teachers. And then they in turn help me work with their parents, where the trauma, I believe, starts. And then the parents, if they're really brilliant and brave and courageous like yourself, you look at it from your grandparents and your generations so that you clear that. And this little girl, she had like anger, and it was like this circle, like mm-hmm. a black. And she explained it to me, and I thought, wow, I'm going to use that in a session, because it was brilliant. So, the fact that you're doing this in schools in Greece, it's such an exciting gift, Theodora. And I'm so glad that you noticed that post and you asked to do this topic, because I was going to talk about an ayahuasca trip, and we're going to do that next week.
Okay, next week. That's going to be the topic of next week. Okay, lovely.
Is there anything you'd like to say that, you think is important before we close this incredible?
Yeah, I feel that people have to work with their feelings. They shouldn't go unprocessed, because they're buried in our body. They're stored in our body. Yeah. So people who feel certain feelings need some kind of guidance so that they learn how to release them. And then that's it. If they learn the process, then it's a nice practice. And it's a nice daily practice for people. If they learn it, it's a nice daily practice.
What age do you start with, Theodora? in your classroom?
In Greek, I start with 8-year-olds, and I do that in Greek. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
But when they are 13 or 14, then I start doing it in English, and they love it.
Wow.
Yeah.
They are our future.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. I think that's a lovely practice we do in class. And it's a lovely opportunity that we don't just follow the lesson plans, and whenever the opportunity arises, I just close the books and work on feelings or whatever comes up in class. So the
Oh,
students just give me the pace.
right.
Yeah.
It's like an internal feedback that provides, a teacher, myself, like I love when you open that create activity within a child, whether it's an adult or a younger person, when you open that ability for them to recognize and see, and then it's like when they get the understanding, it's like all these lights. I call it like the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
wow, they really, it's not like one light goes on. It's like, boom,
Yeah,
everything lights
because
up.
when the feeling is released, the energy just booms in their body, and it circulates everywhere.
Yeah, toot toot.
Okay.
So if you
That's
like
great.
this, we're going to have you guys type in the box of comments below.
Mm-hmm.
If you can type yes, if you relate to this podcast, if you understand how important it is for ourselves as moms, dads, to feel what we need to feel, can you type yes? I get it.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
would be
Looking
really,
forward to
really
your
great.
comments.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.